Welcome back to CBS This Morning. CBS News has just confirmed that President Trump wanted Attorney General William Barr to publicly declare that no laws were broken in Mr. Trump's July 25th call with Ukraine's president. The Washington Post reports Barr refused to speak out about that phone call, which is at the heart of this impeachment inquiry. On Twitter last night, the president called the story totally untrue.
Meanwhile, House Democrats are getting ready for public hearings in the impeachment inquiry. Starting on Wednesday, Bill Taylor, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, will testify at the first hearing. He's one of at least 5 officials to say the president did block military aid to Ukraine while asking that country to investigate Democrats, including Joe Biden. Sources tell CBS News the White House is hiring former Florida Attorney General and Trump ally Pam Bondi and former Treasury spokesman Tony Sayegh. They will help the president with his messaging in the effort to fight off impeachment.
The impeachment proceedings on Capitol Hill could eventually pull some senators running for president from the campaign trail, and that includes Kamala Harris. Her national poll numbers are falling, and she closed all 3 of her field offices in New Hampshire recently. CBS News special correspondent Alex Wagner interviewed the California senator for the Showtime series The Circus. She discussed her strategy if impeachment reaches the Senate.
You're going to have to sit silently as a juror. Have you thought about the sort of psychology of that?
Yeah, I've thought about my own psychology.
Well, so
I mean, it's going to be, I've never been able to sit on my hands. And so, you know, we'll see. There is a lot of this that has precedent, and then some of it that does not.
But in the meantime, you're just going to practice self-discipline.
I'm going to really try.
And Alex Wagner joins us now. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, guys. It's good to see you in person.
Morning.
So it is difficult to imagine Kamala Harris staying silent as a juror.
I know. I mean, it is a fundamental question. There are 6 Democrats who are senators who are also running for president. Kamala Harris is a former prosecutor. She had said, I am the person that knows how these impeachment proceedings should run. And yet her role when it goes to the Senate is going to be to sit quietly as a juror and not say anything.
She do that
I mean, you see, she's saying, look, I thought about this. It's going to be hard for me to sit on my hands, to say nothing of the fact that all these Democrats want to be in Iowa at precisely the moment that an impeachment trial is going to be unfolding.
Meanwhile, she just shook up her campaign staff, laid off some people, and shifted a lot of resources to Iowa. What does that say about where she is?
Look, the campaign is very clear. If they don't do well in Iowa, they have problems. So they're going all in. And then the hope is there is some momentum, some lift from a strong finish, probably not first or second, but maybe third or fourth. And they can use that momentum through South Carolina, which is really where the Harris campaign thinks they will do well. They have effectively, I believe they will not say this publicly, dismissed whatever is going to happen in New Hampshire because Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are from neighboring states. And they think the South will be good for this campaign. The question is whether they have the resources to get there.
So the impeachment inquiry hearings open to the public next week, starting on Wednesday. What's the significance of that? Since I think so many people feel I've already heard everything.
Well, I think that there's something between there's a difference between reading about closed-door depositions and seeing them on your television
and hearing
live
people
say the words, I did this. The president told me to do this. That is meaningful. Republicans have been pressing for, open-door hearings. They are getting what they wanted. There is going to inevitably be a lot of grandstanding. Republicans feel like they are under pressure from the White House to mount a more strident and public defense. This will be their opportunity to do that. And Democrats, no doubt, feel like the more information that the American public is presented with, the more their case is open and shut.
Meanwhile, the Republican defense of the president is, shall we say, evolving.
Yes, that is the euphemism.
What is their strategy here?
It's threefold at present. One, you have a group of Republicans saying there's nothing to see here. There was no quid pro quo. This is a non-issue. 2 is, you know what? Lindsey Graham has taken this tack. The White House didn't really have a strategy that was articulated. There was no quid pro quo because they weren't organized enough for it. And then the third piece is there was a quid pro quo, but it doesn't rise to the level of an impeachable offense. They have not found ground to stand on in terms of a unified strategy, Tony.
These public hearings are going to be tricky, though, aren't they, for moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans?
Yeah. If you look at the polling that came out earlier this week, support for impeachment is underwater in key battleground states. That's Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Arizona. That is a problem for moderate Democrats who effectively won in 2018 and handed the speaker's gavel to Nancy Pelosi. They have got to jockey a line where they are performing their constitutional duty, but also do not appear to be overtly partisan, because voters back at home, I've talked to these voters, they still very much care about jobs, health care, trade, the environment.
Yeah.
Impeachment is
isn't
not
on their list.
it is not the thing that is
yeah.
animating kitchen table discussions.
Yeah, and it's a reminder not to pay attention to these national polls on impeachment.
Exactly.
The state polls really matter most.
The deep dive.
Alex, thank you very much. Season 4 of The Circus continues this Sunday on Showtime, which is a division of CBS, we're proud to say. Check your local listings.